day after Christmas. Hopefully you all are doing well. Got what you were hoping for. Stuffed some stockings. Or, conversely, get your stocking stuffed. Nashville Police Chief hails heroic 6 cops who ran into danger to evacuate residents before bomb-rigged RV exploded outside Nashville AT&T hub. As human remains are found at blast site, 6 police officers who rushed to save resident ahead of Nashville bombing have been named. Officer Brenna Hosey, say her name, Brenna, Officer James Luellen, Officer Michael Sipos, Officer Amanda Topping, Officer James Wells, and Sergeant Timothy Miller found the bomb-rigged RV as they responded to shooting reports. Police confirmed tissue that may have been from human remains has been discovered near the site of the bomb that exploded outside of an AT&T building at 6:40 a.m. Friday morning. 3 people were taken to the hospital with non-serious injuries, and there is significant damage. The blast caused widespread outages to cell phone and internet service. The issues caused problems for local 911 systems and the Nashville International Airport. I'd heard the airport had shut down, kind of grounded a lot of flights for about 4 or 5 hours during the day. Police had been called to a suspicious vehicle in the street in the morning and had called a bomb squad. While the bomb squad was on their way to the vehicle, the explosion happened. It was felt for blocks, with people reporting feeling the ground shake and windows shattering. The FBI and the ATF are on the scene to assist with the investigation. The type of explosive is not yet known. They have not mentioned domestic terrorism, but President Trump, who is at Mar-a-Lago, has been briefed. Police have not yet identified a suspect, and they are combing the area for any other explosives. Mayor John Cooper says he thinks casualties were minimized because it happened on Christmas Day, and early yet, he enforced a curfew over the area on Friday evening. Interesting way to describe that. First thing that jumps out at me, not having read this, is the tissue or the remains found near the scene of the bomb. That perhaps that tissue, that those chunks and bits belong to the individual who was the bomber. That the bomb wasn't supposed to go off just then. The bomber wasn't well versed in the dangers of the explosive, and that perhaps it detonated before the bomber could reach their actual target, whatever that may be, more crowded area. But again, as I said, on Christmas, who's really going to be around, right? So maybe somebody wanted to go out with a bang. You're the bomb, baby, like that movie line went. It would be great if the individual who had the bomb was strapped with it, carrying it, if those bits and pieces did belong to the bomber and that the bomber's not still out there somewhere. That'd be the best situation. The holidays, even though it's Christmas, you think that people are all just kind of hanging out at home with family like a lot of us were. I think that there's probably a lot of information to back up the fact that holidays being a lonely time for some and kind of everything that's gone on this year, that this is a time people tend to lash out. That if their lives aren't going well, that they want to take that out on others in some way. So active shooter is reported at Texas hotel after a man makes threatening comments as cops swarm the building and guests lock themselves in their rooms. Police in Grapevine, Texas are responding to reports of an active shooter. The Great Wolf Lodge was placed on lockdown and guests were urged not to leave their rooms as officers swarmed the building. No injuries are reported, but officers are said to be searching the area. Great Wolf Lodge issued a text to guests telling them that the alarm had been raised by another person staying at the hotel. Police said they had not located the man who made threatening comments to guests and claimed to have a firearm as of 2 a.m. So that'd be 2 a.m. on Saturday morning, so shortly before I'm recording this. Our officers are responding to an active threat call at Great Wolf Lodge, the police department said in a tweet. There are no injuries reported, but we are still on scene and searching the area. Some rooms are on lockdown as a precaution, they added. We have additional units arriving on scene and continue to check the welfare of everyone inside. I skimmed this a little bit. There's no details. As it's said here, they don't have a suspect, so nothing really dramatic happened. Apparently some idiot called in a threat saying he had a gun. But they did tell some of the residents here, it was kind of confusing, and I shouldn't say residents, I should say guests, that they said that some people were given the option to go home or stay in their room. I'm like, well, even if the guy maybe a little bit wacky. Maybe he isn't really a threat, but he has a gun and, it's like 2 a.m. So I think I'm just going to hang out in my room. So yeah, I'll pass on going into the cold Texas night where there may be potentially some deranged lunatic out there. I'm just going to chill in my hotel room and do what I got to do on Christmas Day. Now back to our Nashville story. Reward for Nashville bomber reaches $315,000 after the Prophet host and businessman Marcus Lemonis offers $250,000 for information. The Prophet host Marcus Lemonis has pledged $250,000 to the reward fund for information on the Nashville bombing. He followed pledges from the Nashville Convention and Visitors Corp, Fox Sports host Clay Travis, Outkick if you're familiar with his channel, and Country Louis Store. The reward now stands at $315,000 as of Friday night. 3 people hospitalized after being caught in the blast are said to be stable, which is good. Cops have revealed no further information on the bomb that exploded at 6:40 a.m. from an RV, playing a strange countdown message on repeat. The FBI is hunting for a suspect and a motive as the city's mayor puts a curfew in place around the bomb site until Sunday afternoon. "We can't have our streets terrorized like this," Lemonis wrote of the bombing. Interesting that some individuals, elected officials, people in corporations and in power, and animals that reside in the U.S. are fine with terrorizing our streets, and people often don't call them out. I'm not going to mention any names here. The officers had been responding to reports of shots fired 40 minutes before the explosion when they found an RV outside of an AT&T transmission building, which was playing an announcement featuring a woman's voice saying it would explode in 15 minutes. There was no evidence of the shooting at the scene, and it is not known if the sounds could have also come from the RV's recording. Cops have not revealed who made the initial shooting report. They rushed to get people out of their homes while the ominous pre-recorded message played over and over again, with music playing in between each countdown, before the van eventually exploded at around 6:40 p.m. These officers didn't care about themselves, Chief Drake said. They didn't think about that. They cared about the citizens of Nashville. They went in, and we'd be talking not about the debris that we have here, but potential people. In a press briefing on Friday night, Drake also confirmed that the police have found tissue that could potentially be human remains near the bomb site. He gave no further details on the discovery, repeating that there were still no known casualties, but that the tissue is being examined. Law enforcement officers had earlier said the remains were found near the bomb site, but did not indicate whether they were directly linked to the explosion, whether they could belong to the person responsible, or a potential victim, which is what I alluded to. We're hoping it was the person responsible. AT&T are also continuing to investigate as they work to repair internet and cell phone outages caused by the blast that had impacted 911 and emergency phone systems, and temporarily shut down flights from Nashville International Airport. There's the van itself. There are our heroes. Indeed, it's Amanda, Michael, and Richard. We've got Say Her Name Brenna, Timothy Miller, and Officer James Wells. Oh, we've actually got a video of this. Okay, well, here we go. So it's saying, if you could... Fuck. Holy fucking shit. Well, it looks like they hit slow-mo. The message was saying, if you can hear this, back away now. That's what the message was saying at the beginning. Dang. It's unclear if the AT&T building was the target of the bomb, but the vehicle was parked outside it. There are also bars, restaurants, and apartments nearby, which had not yet opened. Power is essential to restoring wireless and wireline communications, and we are working with law enforcement to get access to our equipment and make needed repairs, AT&T said in a statement at 5 p.m. Wow, thanks for your valuable contribution, AT&T spokesperson. Given the damage to our facility, it will take time to restore service. Yeah, I don't really care about that. If you care, then my bad, but I think there's more important things here than internet service. The FBI is investigating, but so far no suspect or motive has been identified. Police do not even know if someone was inside the RV when it blew up because the blast was so intense that it was completely obliterated along with everything inside it. 3 people were taken to the hospital with non-serious injuries. On Friday evening, Nashville Mayor John Cooper announced curfew on the area around the bomb site as the investigation continues. Okay, so I was saying a little bit earlier, maybe the person was walking around with the bomb and it just blew up, but it was the bomb was inside the RV. So then that would take us back to the hope that the tissue that was found, assuming there's enough of it to scoop up and run some tests on, that was from the individual who made the bomb and that they were inside the RV when it happened. And the blast was so great that it sent their tissue flying all about the Nashville city streets. Done and done. That would be the happy ending for this story. And then there's the aftermath. Wow, look at that. Trees down, debris everywhere, cars burnt out, view from above. Wow. There's a little bit more detail here if you want to read it. I think we pretty much covered the gist. There's really a lot we don't know at this point. Obviously, this was breaking. It's been about 15, 18 hours since it's happened to when I'm recording this. So obviously as the days go by, and if they can test that tissue, then we'll find out a little bit more about this. It just goes to show the depravity of individuals. And let me touch on this real quick, though. I was looking at some other stories about this, and in the comments it was a battle, a left and right battle. Oh, well, this looks like it was the Proud Boys. Those Trump Proud Boys, Trump told them to be ready. Bruh. Proud Boys? Bruh. You're telling me that the Proud Boys are really going around detonating bombs? Bruh. You are somebody, if you feel that way, that you are somebody who's probably the next individual to get radicalized into doing something like this. You name me some stories where Proud Boys went around and were setting off bombs. You go ahead and we'll wait. I'm still waiting. And that's just for you crazy fuckers out there on the left. Additionally, though, people on the right, to counter that, would be saying, oh, well, this is Antifa. This is BLM. And I got to thinking about it, and we did have that case back in July of 2019, where that individual who was said to be an Antifa sympathizer, he went out in Tacoma, Washington, and tried to blow up the ICE detention facility there. And he ended up getting laid down like the pathetic dog that he was. But it made me think about BLM and Antifa as well. And what I came up with, just kind of spitballing things, which is all we can do right now, but it doesn't feel like BLM. This doesn't feel like anything they would ever be involved with. They'll smash windows, they'll smash people, they'll extort money from companies for donations and funnel that through whatever means into the Democratic coffers. They'll get in large groups and harass old people at cafes, as we've seen. They'll boo-hoo about everything's racist this, racist that. It doesn't feel like BLM, though. It doesn't feel like something they'd be involved with. Now that leaves us with Antifa, and going back to that Tacoma, Washington story, it feels like something that, I'm not saying it's them or anyone affiliated, but somebody with that type of mindset, that this is something they would do. Could be a disgruntled former employee, though. These are just things I'm thinking about right now on the fly as I'm recording this. It feels more like a lone wolf thing, a Timothy McVeigh type individual. Somebody on either side, either the right or the left, that may not necessarily be affiliated with one of these organizations. I'm not going to be out here saying it's some skinhead or some white supreme type person, just like I wouldn't say it's BLM or some black supreme type. It just doesn't feel like that's the kind of individual that this is ultimately going to be tied back to. As I said, some lone wolf, disgruntled individual, maybe tired of the lockdowns, maybe lost a family member or family members recently, maybe saw a huge change in life, a divorce due to job loss, something COVID related, something along those lines that set the individual off. Somebody obviously with mental issues, again, not necessarily tied to a particular group, but certainly tied to an ideology of anti whatever it is that they were out there trying to fight. But really, that's the only thing I can think of in terms of that. I don't know if you have any other thoughts about it. But that being said, it all goes back to what I was talking about at the beginning of the video. That during the holidays, when a lot of us are out here happy, celebrating good times, that there are individuals out there that are struggling, and that's not making an excuse, obviously, but there are individuals out there struggling with things, and when life isn't going their way and they see other people happy or doing good things, that they want to try to take it out on everyone else. So, all right, everybody, hopefully you're doing well. Christmas down. As I said, hopefully you got everything you wanted. Hopefully everything you were looking for. Stuffed some stockings. Got your stockings stuffed, ladies. All right. I couldn't resist. All right, so we're headed forward now to New Year's. 5 more days to go until New Year's. Take care, everybody. Be well, and thanks for watching.